So I find it absolutely fascinating how every single week some amazing event happens around the world, and no matter what sacred institution you go in, it perfectly aligns with the sacred reading of that week. It's fascinating, I think, how it is that clergy are always able to make some connections. Sometimes it's even struggling and hard to do so, but we always seem to be able to do it. But today, even, and I say, by the way, that was a little tongue-in-cheek, I say even in doing that, this week was a little bit, for me, challenging. And it got me really thinking, not necessarily even about the Parsha, but more about the calendar. We're in the time when we count the Omer, from the second night of Passover, 49 days, all the way to Shavuot, where we count until the Omer is ready to be harvested. For those of you who don't remember what the Omer is, that's the barley harvest. That is the first harvest in Israel. There's two different harvests. Barley is harvested, and that is actually fed to animals, and wheat, which is fed or grown later and is fed to people, to us. Really got me also thinking in terms of the calendar, the concept of gratitude and ingratitude. How we at times find ourselves to be easily grateful for things, and yet at other times we can only find ourselves doing something which we are all good at. Maybe even Olympic medal winners in the art of fetching. I don't know about you, but that's a good one for me sometimes too. We find ourselves engaging in ingratitude. Why didn't this happen this way? Why didn't this work out for me? This is not a new sport. This is not something that's brand new to us. Even in the past few thousand years, we've been doing it for a very long time. I want us to even think about how Moses was treated. We read just a few weeks ago at Passover that we became free from slavery. Well, that's great. As we were going and crossing the Red Sea, all of these miracles happened, the 10 plagues, the feeding of Pharaoh's army. But the minute God doesn't give us enough manna, right away, we're complaining and we want to go back to Egypt where there's melons and other foods. It's phenomenal how easy it is to forget. How easy it is to sit here and say and whine about what we don't have, instead of focusing on what it is that we do have. Which again, I connect to the the calendar. The Omer, I think the counting of the Omer, at least those 49 days, makes me realize that it takes 49 days for the Omer, the barley, to grow. It doesn't happen overnight. The ability to go from one space to someplace else takes time. And along that journey, there's ups and downs in life. As you get closer, of course, to the crop, we get more and more excited as harvest comes around, because we're getting ready for the holiday of Shavuot, a holiday where we eat all sorts of dairy and have ice cream and cheesecake and stay up late studying until our heart is content. Which is, again, a reminder of why it is that we should be grateful. It's not like things happen just once and it goes bad, but it'll be okay. We don't have to focus on that one thing that happened. We can remind ourselves that we are on that journey toward something better. Ben Zoma, one of the rabbi from Mishnaic times, teaches, "Who is the rich person? The one who rejoices in his portion. For it's true that one who can see gifts, and it's easy to rejoice in our blessings. All the more so is it challenging when we don't have those gifts." But Ben Zoma, in reflecting on that, reminds me of how wonderful it is to say thank you. We are living in a time when we want the things to go from not working out to all of a sudden working out. We want those diets to be fast. We want the results to be quick. We don't want to sit in the struggle. We want to get through the hardship as fast as we can. And so we focus on that and not on being grateful for what it is that we have. We focus all of our energy on how we see things. The glass is half empty. This isn't working out. But again, I would love us to consider Instead of being hyper focused on physical health, on looks, or external things that are not aided by scrolling through our social media pages, but on the lessons that I think the counting of the Omer teaches. That time is important, that focusing on growth is important, that tomorrow will culminate into another tomorrow, which will culminate into something potentially even better. That it's not just the counting from freedom, but it's the celebration, what that freedom means when it's enjoyed on Shavuot, where we receive the 10 Commandments and we receive all of the gifts, even more gifts from God. The Omer counting offers many practices, including gratitude, humility, and so forth. There's a whole idea behind it that every single week of the Omer we focus on one simple lesson. But I also kind of look at it from 10,000 feet, that it's not just the little bits of the lesson of each Omer, but it's those each individual weeks that get us from focusing on the barley for the animals to being able to celebrate the wheat harvest in the fall, where we walk through the calendar and get ready for that fall festival of Sukkot, where we're really able to enjoy the animals who we fed with the Omer, the wheat that we were able to harvest, those first fruits in Sukkot. But the gift that I realized too is that in getting there, we have to do work. We go through first the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, and most importantly, Yom Kippur, where there's repentance, where there's ups and downs, where there's growth and there's learning. So while it's always easy to focus on those moments of ingratitude, I want to encourage, when you do find yourself heading there, because we all do, flip it to gratitude. And if you can't, remember, it takes time, patience, and courage to go down a path, but tomorrow can be amazing. Just wait and see.